I just like big lizards. Big lizards. The bigger the better. And spiders. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah and this is another weekend review. So this should be hopefully a short one. I haven't read a whole lot. My energy has been very low the past week, so it's not been much as far as reading goes. But I have read one fantastic book, one okay book, and I did unfortunately DNF an anticipated read, so womp womp. The first book that I read, and we'll go ahead and get the gush out of the way, is the second Criminal Intentions book, Junk Shop Blues. This is season 1, episode 2, and this is by Cole McCade. These, as usual, I have spoken about these frequently before, follow a pair of detectives as they investigate various crimes, and slowly a relationship builds and a big like meta plot builds. Think like a Law and Order Criminal Intentions, but much better done. This was fantastic. I loved the interpersonal and intrapersonal stuff going on in here. There was a lot more within our characters and our characters' relationships with each other and with other people in the office. The mystery itself wasn't as strong as in the first one. To be fair, the first one was horrifying, but this one was a little slower, a little like less intense, and I did have it solved pretty quickly. But what this one really focused more on was the characters and their relationships. I'm not going to give too much away as far as the actual plot beats of this or anything, but suffice to say, I loved this. It was great. I made a special tabbing system for two things. Sade, they are my favorite. Sade is the superior character. And also the amount of times Cole McCade uses animals or nature like analogies in this, fascinating use of that, especially with Malcolm being more of a wolf and he's more of a hunter and a defender and a protector, and Song Ye being more of like a crow or a bird or a hawk. I just really enjoy that, and even the casual descriptions of places and things are very animalistic, predatory prey sort of descriptions, and it's just very well done. It's incredibly well done, to be honest. So this was a huge win for me, surprising absolutely no one pays any bit of attention. I have the third book upstairs already, so I shall be jumping into that probably in the next week or so. I don't know that you will see it next week, but you might see it at the end of the month because it is on the TBR and I do want to get to it. The next thing that I read was The Scarlet Circus by Jane Yolen, and this is Yolen? I think it's Yolen. This is a short collection of short stories. I think this is less than 300 pages, and this was an arc that I had from Tachyon, so many thanks to Tachyon. I am reading this very late. Whoops. This was, it was okay. I have read Jane Yolen's work before, and I like it. It's got a very fairy tale, old style, almost classic fantasy feel to it, which with good reason. She has been writing books since the 80s, 90s, and she's written something like 400 books, including, you know, poetry, children's books, adult books, middle grade, everything. I think she's written in almost every genre. And this was focusing in on romantic short stories, or romance in the both classical sense of the word and the more traditional, or not the more traditional, but the more modern sense, as in like romantic love. And again, it was okay for me. I don't know if it was a huge standout. I don't know that I'll remember all of these stories going down the road, but it was a very nice diversion, a nice stop, and it did remind me that I do like Jane Yolen's work. I just don't get to pick it up very often. It's not something I see on the shelves a lot. I'm not sure why. I guess it's just she's an older author. She's coming out with stuff slower. And if I pick up context clues correctly, she's been working more on poetry. But she is an author that I read as a child, so I was excited to try out some of her more recent work. And this does have an introduction from the king of fantasy, many would say himself, Brando Sando. And he talks about his love for Jane Yolen and how she impacted him as a young reader and writer. And I can definitely see and understand that, especially with his most recent book, Tess. It has that lyrical feel to it. That is something I am reading, but haven't finished yet. Again, it's a few of those. But this was one, if you like short collections, if you want something that's a little more on the fairy tale side, this would be a fantastic one to pick up. Nothing was particularly hard-hitting. There were a few suspect, maybe, usages of people or things that were a little dated. I don't think they were meant maliciously, but it was one of those things that made me kind of squint my eyes a bit. But some of those stories were older, so I'll give it a pass. It was overall a fun read. And the one DNF that I had, sadly, was the Davenports. I was really anticipating this. This is about a wealthy black family in I think the 1910s or 20s in the United States, and their daughter's romantic entanglements. I did not know or realize that this covered 4 POVs of 4 different girls, and each girl had a romance going on that somehow linked to the other ones, or possibly even a, like, what's the word I want? Love triangle? It was interesting. That alone wouldn't have turned me off, but for the fact that we switched between each POV within 10 to 15 pages of each other. So we would get, like, at one point I think we had like 5 pages of one perspective, and then we were in another girl's head in another place, she's talking about another thing, and it just felt like I wasn't getting enough of each girl, that I wasn't connecting to it. So for me, that was a miss. And I was very much more interested in certain girls than others, and I kind of wish this had been 2 books, if not even 4, but 2 books minimum with 2 of the girls, because each pair was a little more entwined with each other. So I kind of wish I had broken apart, but it didn't, alas, and that's okay. So this was unfortunately a miss, but I will definitely pick up more from this author. This one just wasn't for me with all the POVs and the very fast switch. If you like that, I definitely recommend this. Some people really respond to that a lot better. I just wasn't into it. And that's it, honestly. It's a little bit of a quicker weekend review this week. Just trying to keep it snappy. My energy's a little higher today. I am currently reading 3 things. I am a little bit into The Second Husky and His White Cat. This is going very well. Enjoying it very much so. I will say, I should have expected this. This is based off a web serialized story. The chapter, it's not chapter 1, first off, it's chapter 46, because the end of book 1 was chapter 45, but it just immediately jumps in right at the end of right at the end of what happened in chapter 45. There is no, like, reintroduction to the world. It's just, bam, we're back in there with the, ancient tree spirit. Things have been bad. Things are bad. People are hurt. And it just keeps moving. There is no seeming break between books. They just picked a convenient place that would work. So that was odd, but I should have expected that. And I am liking it. I just got past the portion where Shizune was stuck in a 5-year-old's body. It was something. I tell you what, it was weird. I am also a good chunk of the way through The Rise and Reign of the Mammals. This is by Steve Brusette. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating nonfiction. This is covering the evolution of mammals of mammalian life alongside dinosaurs, and then out past the dinosaurs, how they survived the extinctions, how they developed in different ways from the dinosaurs, and even looked at some interesting things like, I believe it's pronounced Dimetrodon, but I could be saying it wrong. I'll see if I can put a picture of this little dinosaur here. You see it on all the dino posters. It comes in all the little packs of dino toys you get. It's not a dino. It's like a stem mammal. It's an early form of mammalian ancestor. And I just thought that was a neat, quick fact from it. Some of the other things that I really enjoyed learning about is the development of the jaw and how that helped mammals survive a little easier than dinos, the reptiles and stuff, because it allowed for a more effective way of chewing and more effective way of taking calories. It doesn't sound like it would be interesting, in full honesty. There's a trash truck right outside. I think it's a trash truck. So I am sorry if you hear that banging. It doesn't sound interesting, but wow, it's very interesting. I love it. As clearly I have tabbed it a much, and my husband and best friend have been inundated with dinosaur facts. I'm just saying. I get super enthusiastic And I'm like, oh my god, you know, here's this fun fact. And they're just, okay, Sarah. And my ebook right now is the second collection of Peter S. Beagle short stories. This is the Peter S. Beagle Essentials Collections Volume 2. It has a subtitle. I don't remember what it is. I love this. Oh my god. So, Peter S. Beagle wrote The Last Unicorn, classic writer, has written a lot of other stuff, and in full honesty, I'd only ever read The Last Unicorn, and I read that in like middle school, perhaps. So when I requested these, I didn't know what to expect, but they looked interesting, and I wanted to try out more Peter S. Beagle, and boy, how do I love them. I love them. I don't know what else to say. I've loved them. So this is a second set of stories so far. I think I'm on the third story in this, and the stories I've read so far have just been fantastic. The first collection was a big win for me. I spoke about it previously, not quite a while back, but several months ago. And so far, this is looking to be a win. There will be more concrete thoughts and another wrap-up soon, but so far, I love this. That is it. I'm trying to think. I did get my nice broken binding edition of Frontier in the mail. It is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why, I didn't expect the bottom of the pages to be sprayed their own unique pattern, but they are. I don't know how to express it. It's very pretty. The naked hardcover has the ruined earth, and then we have on our mostly nameless narrator on the inside flaps on both of them. But I absolutely love this book, so I had to spring for this nice edition because I like this cover a lot more than the American cover. I think if I were to see the American cover at the used bookstore and I had trade credit, I would definitely get a copy. But this is the copy that I wanted on my shelves. That's it. That's everything from me this week. Let me know your thoughts. If you've read anything, have you read what I've read? Are you interested at all in the ancestry of mammalian life like me? I think my love of dinosaurs and my love of dragons is very closely connected. I just like big lizards. Big lizards. The bigger the better. And spiders. Anyway, let me know what y'all think down below, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. So I'll talk to you then. Bye.